One of the most common scenarios
and we're going to be talking about the Cairo.
You're going to get drunk that way? By all means, do it.
Hey guys, this is Gunny Smith. Welcome to the 4th episode of Sunday Scripture here on Fat TV. And today we're going to be talking about the separation of church and state. So a lot of times conservatives like to point out, and rightfully so, that separation of church and state is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. Rather, it was first mentioned in Thomas Jefferson's letter to the Danbury Baptist Church in 1802. And you can look up that letter on your own time, but basically what he was saying is that the church has a right to religious liberty, and the state is not going to tell them what to do. So it was more or less giving religious freedom to the church rather than taking religion out of politics. But I think it's important that we keep religion out of politics also, and I want to explain why here today. So a long time ago, I took the Political Compass quiz, and one of the questions on there is, it is important that my child's school instills religious values. And when I first took this quiz, I was a pretty strong conservative back then. I said, yes, I strongly agree to this. I want my child's school to teach him how to pray, teach him about the Bible, all those kind of things. I want that back in public schools so that way, we have a more Christian nation. But the more I've evolved as a libertarian, the more I've kind of walked back this stance. Because this is the same public school that wants to indoctrinate our children with socialism. And I don't want them teaching my children what Christianity is supposed to look like. I would rather take that responsibility myself and show them the true face of Christ. That way I know what they're learning, rather than trusting the government, who's also teaching them all these other things I don't necessarily agree with, rather than having them show them what the religion looks like. And so a verse that Christians like to use against separation of church and state is, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance." That's Psalm 33:12. And the way I look at this verse is, blessed is the nation whose individuals choose God as their Lord. You can't take a shortcut by having the head of state slap "In God We Trust" on your dollar bill and hope that that has you covered. And why the dollar bill of all things? This is the same dollar bill that people use to snort crack off of strippers' butt cheeks. Why we put that on the dollar is beyond me. But regardless, I also want to look at the word nation in this verse here. And what a nation is a large aggregate of people united by common descent, history, culture, or language, inhabiting a particular country or territory. So a nation isn't necessarily a government-ruled country as we think of the United States today. The tribe of Israel, which is what this verse is actually talking about, they were a group of people united by a common belief that had no real home until they settled in the Promised Land. But even still, it wasn't some government that they propped up in the Holy Land that made them a nation. It was their common belief and descent from the line of Jacob who became Israel. That's what made them a nation. So here in the United States, our entire country doesn't have to be this nation that we're talking about here in Psalm 33:12. The church that you go to every Sunday, that can be your nation of believers. And this should be a huge sigh of relief for you guys, because that can rule out California, the people in San Francisco who aren't living godly lives. We don't necessarily have to associate ourselves with them. We should try to bring them to Christ, but that doesn't have to be the nation of believers that we associate ourselves with. And then one final point that's really important for me, and why we have to have separation of church and state, is because I don't want my religion to be dragged through the mud whenever my government does something stupid. Like whenever Obama accidentally drone strikes Syrian civilians rather than the true enemy. I don't want Christianity to be labeled with that drone strike. I want that to be reflective of the United States government, and that's it. I know a lot of people don't buy the argument that it's our foreign affairs that causes radical Islamic terrorism, but it certainly doesn't help whenever we are drone striking civilians and making a lot of people mad over there that shouldn't really be mad at us. It's understandable why they would want to take up arms. It could be part of their religion. There could be some stuff in the Quran that tells them that, but this is just positive reinforcement to make them hate us. And there's no need for it to be a crusade against Christianity. It's the United States government that's doing them wrong, not my religion. Now, this is a pretty big topic, and one that I could get a lot deeper into, and probably something I'll get back into later, because this is kind of the premise of this series on this channel. It's religion and politics, and basically the cross-section of that. So that's really all I wanted to say for this week. Let me know what you guys think if you have anything else to add. Thank you guys for watching, and God bless.